Welcome to the Private Practice Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Brooklyn Storme, here to help you unlock the mind, business, and spirit of your private practice success. So whether you're just starting out or you're looking to grow, this is the place for you if you really want to create a thriving private practice. Before we dive in, I want to share something that can really make a difference in your business. Imagine having an expert in your pocket, someone available on demand whenever you need guidance. Well, that's exactly what my new program, Practice Momentum, offers. With over 30 years of experience at your fingertips, you can now get the support you need whenever you need it. Curious? Head over to brooklynstorme.com to learn more. And now let's get into today. And welcome back to another episode of the podcast. Look, I honestly don't know how long this particular episode is going to go for, but I just have to share with you, I am on a total high at the moment. Like everything is just going so well over in Practice Momentum. And I wish that you could see everything that's happening in there, because I can honestly say, as a business specialist and as a private practice coach, I don't think that I've ever felt like my cup was overflowing with just sheer joy and happiness for the progress that these women are making. I mean, I spoke to somebody this morning and we did her 90-day plan. We were together for a few hours and, it all went really well. In that time, we completely stripped everything back. We redid her niche. We got her messaging sorted out. I mean, she needs to tidy up the messaging, but it's there. We also looked at all of the copy to rewrite for things and for her website and all that kind of stuff. And then we spoke about photos, because somebody else in the community had some photos done and people were just feeling inspired, and now everyone's like, oh, maybe I need to get mine done. Even I thought maybe I need to get mine done, which obviously I do. I'm just a little bit nervous about going and getting mine done, because I really liked the person who did them before, but they were doing it for a particular company and that company's gone out of business now. So I don't know how to find my photographer. I'm sure there are other good ones out there. If you know of one, please send me their details. If you can hear noise in the background, that's just Buddy, because I'm all excited. He's decided to get excited as well. It was raining here all morning, but I just kind of felt like after I'd done that 90-day planning session, I needed to get out and I needed to take Buddy out. And I got him a new harness and he really likes his new harness, so winning. And I put on his little raincoat. It's all nice and warm. It's got sheepskin and fleecy line, stuff like that underneath. And we went to the park, and it's a leash-free park, and he's brand new to being leash-free. We've been doing it for, I'd say today might even be about 1 week, and he is just loving it so much. I mean, maybe it's 2 weeks, pretty sure it's 1, but anyway, he's loving it so much. But he's gotten used to, these are the different doors we go in and out of the park with, and I was walking and I was expecting that he was going to catch up to me, and when I turned around, he was waiting at one of the doors that we normally go out of to take us through, it's just to take us through, I don't really know how you call it. It's not the CBD, it's in suburbia, but the little strip of shops, the main street. He likes to walk up one end, turn around, come back the other end, and then go back to the park and get in the car. So anyway, we did all of that. It was really good. And it was just so nice to be outside. But anyway, one of the other things that I did this morning, so you know how you just get these bolts of inspiration? I had said to somebody, and I really honestly, hand on heart, forget who it was, but it was recently, we were talking about, her business. And as we were talking about what she was doing to create sustainability in her business, and I was giving her a strategy and we were talking about how she could do that, I said to her, hey, I've had this other idea. I have just had a brainwave. I've had this other idea. This could be really good. I think that we might be onto something here. And I made notes about it and everything. And you know what? It just never left me. And after I did the 90-day planning session this morning with somebody else, I don't even know why, but I just got the idea. I am going to actually put it all together as one process. So now I have created a sustainability process for private practice. It's like brand new. I love it so much. I'm so excited because I know that this is absolutely going to change the landscape of private practice. And I feel it, like I know it. And if I can get these 20 women to put this model in place for their business, then I will have done, like, my legacy. It's like my life's work. Well, I know that sounds really big, but do you know what I mean? Like, how you say you want to help people? Like, I really want to help them. And especially because I guess my own background was growing up living below the poverty line, never having money. I'm now financially supporting an aging parent who was out of the workforce for a long time. And then when she went back into the workforce, never put money away for her super because, hey, nobody ever mentioned it. Like, her accountant never mentioned it. All of this is just like, it blows my mind. And, she's struggling. And I never, ever, she's not struggling financially, right? Because I'm helping her. But the things that she struggles with are things like, I don't know, if there's something extra that she wants. I try and anticipate everything. Like, I try and anticipate medicine, appointments, clothing, entertainment, food, all of the things. I'm always trying to think ahead, what might she need, and I'm trying to get ahead of it. But every now and again, something pops up and, she has to ask for money. And I never, ever, 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 ever want any of you to be in that position because, I reckon, she's never said it, but I reckon it must be really hard to do that, like to ask your children for money. Like, I think that must be so hard. And I am here to break that generational curse of poverty, right? And not only for me and my family, but for women in general, okay? I am a money coach amongst all the other coaching that I do. I'm also a qualified money coach, and I pursued that as a result of my own journey with money. Like, so many of you have said to me, I charge $100 for a session, and they also get a discount if they can't really afford it. And I also give concessions, and I do this, and I also go overtime because I really want to make sure that that was me, right? That was me. You will run yourself into the ground running a business like that. So it was so important to me to take my money lessons, right? All the things I learned about my money mindset, how I was trying to I wasn't even trying, it was just happening, right? Subconsciously, unconsciously, I was doing it. I was bringing my old money stories into the business, and I kept myself small for such a long time. All these thoughts that I had, because again, as I said, like, growing up without money, you feel like a shitty person. Like, you feel like, everybody else gets to do all the cool stuff except for you. Like, you just weren't lucky enough to be born into one of those families where you get to go on the school camp, or you get to do your debutante ball, or you get to get your license when everybody else does. I was 28 when I got my license because I was supporting my family. And the messages that I got when I said that I wanted to go and get my license younger was, if you spend that money on your license and on a car and insurance and on driving lessons, that's stealing food from your family. Like, no, you don't do that. So this is what I mean. Like, I had a lot of rewiring and reprogramming that I needed to do about money because I never felt like it was okay for me to have it. And certainly the messaging that I had growing up was, if you've got it, you give it, right? So it's like, if you've got it, it's not fair of you to hang on to that. Like, why would you put that in your savings account when the family needs it? Like, you give that to the family and then we eat that week, right? This is literally what it was like. So could you imagine never having heard of money mindset coaching, never having heard of limiting beliefs and things like that around money, or money stories, or healing money wounds, or masculine feminine, never heard any of that. Boom, go straight into business. Like, what do you imagine that was like? What I did was I worked my butt off. I was seeing so many clients. Like, I can't even believe it. I couldn't imagine doing it now. Honestly, like, the medical clinics were booking between 12 and 14 clients a day. When you're bulk billing, the clients don't pay, right? You just take the money from Medicare yourself. So when they're not paying, it's generally not valued. And so there would be high no-show rates. So you needed to have a high volume of clients booked in so that you could make enough money to pay the rent, give the 30% to the medical clinic, pay all your costs of doing your business, and survive, right? So this was what it was like for me, 5 days a week, and then sometimes a Saturday as well. And do you know what? The worst days were when somebody would come for the 8:30 a.m. appointment, and then, you know, there'd be like a few gaps, and then maybe the 10:15 one would turn up, and then there'd be another few gaps. It was just like higgledy-piggledy. You never knew from one day to the next how many people were coming. You never got paid a cancellation fee because it was free, all that kind of stuff. And I learned, like, you've got to work hard if you're going to make enough money to support yourself. And so, yeah, that was how I was. And then when I did get money, I remember, you know, when you're working and you're doing free work, every now and again you do work that's paid, right? So it might be work cover, or it might be, I don't know, maybe somebody wants a letter or a report or something like that. You get this extra money. And I used to remember the extra money coming in, and I'd be like so excited about it. And even if it was only a couple $100, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I wasn't used to having money. I wasn't used to holding on to money. I didn't put money into my super account because I felt guilty about it. I thought that's a luxury, right? This was my mindset, right? I thought, rich women put money into their super account. They use the money that they've got left over and they put that into their super. Like, it was not great thinking, which is why I am so passionate about this. And then, yeah, I finished that sort of chapter of my private practice professional life and then moved over into the current chapter. Everything changed. You've heard it all on previous episodes, but I guess the big thing is that learning about money and learning about my relationship with money was pivotal in me being able to create the type of business that I really, really, really wanted to have. And more so lately, the type of business that I really need. You know, if I still had that old mindset about money and things like that, and no one ever taught me about sustainability. Like, honestly, I was working so hard. I've told you a story before. Like, there was one time I went and had a root canal, just 20 minutes before my first client at the medical clinic. And I sat there all day seeing clients with a wad of gauze stuck in the back of my jaw, right? Because I was so scared to take a day off, because I thought, if I take a day off, I can't afford it. I'm not making money. Like, that was the situation with my business, and no one ever showed me it doesn't have to be like that. And because I was so busy, I didn't have any time to be in online Facebook groups talking to people, asking them how they were doing it. I was totally isolated by myself. I see that now, but at the time I didn't see it. I never felt isolated because there was always something happening in the business. Anyway, so here I am now, and everything's changed. I've changed, I've grown, I've learned, I've embodied the lessons. I've embodied an identity shift. I am here breaking patterns of intergenerational money mindset around poverty. Like, I'm doing it, and I do it for me. Yes, of course, I have to do it for myself first, so that then I can help other women do it for themselves, right? And hopefully, somewhere along the line, I'm a really good example for one of my sisters. I got 4 of them and a brother. Or hopefully, I'm a really good example for one of my nieces or nephews, which I've got about 25 of. Like, hopefully, at some point, one of them sort of, I don't know, maybe they follow in my footsteps or something like that. And they get into like, maybe not business, but maybe they get into like spirituality or mindset or something cool like that. And they have a look and they're like, holy smoke, like Auntie Brooklyn did it. Like, how did she do it? And, I'm so thankful that she did, because now I get to do it too. Like, now it's normal for me to feel safe with money. That's what I really, 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 really want for my family. Okay. And now by extension, for all the women that I work with, and especially the women in the Momentum community. And so one of the things that I have done, and you've heard me talk about it before, was really around building out a model of sustainability. That when I talk about sustainability, what I mean is that it supports clients, but it also supports the women, right? To have the safety and the security, the financial predictability gives them the safety so that they know that they can take time off when they're sick and the money's still coming in. Or maybe they take time off when they're sick. Maybe the money isn't coming in because, their model of business is that they make it when they're on the couch. But they know that the business is set up to support them either side of their sick leave. So do you know what I mean? Like, either there's a surplus of money in the business account that is earmarked for if they get sick and have to take time off, for example, right? Or for if they've got to go and study or go to a conference or whatever, and they're not going to be there making the money. So anyway, and it's been working a treat, right? I use it myself in my business. I share it with my clients and it just goes so well. Now, because Momentum's fairly new, I think they haven't finished their first 90 days yet, most of them. And some people just joined like quite recently. So they're still trying to understand, I guess, what sustainability is going to look like for them in terms of how they want to have their business running, but also in terms of what they want to be getting from their business, which I think is really, really important, because in the early days of private practice, when you're there, it's like you're in it, right? You're working in the business, you're doing the work, you're doing all of the things. But I think it's really important as well to think not only about, oh my gosh, I'm giving so much of myself to the business. I'm giving the business my time. I'm giving the business my love. I'm giving my business the energy. I'm giving my business every single ounce of me. But I want you to ask yourself, like, what's a business giving you back? Like, it's got to be, you're in a relationship with the business, right? At the moment, if you're giving, and the business is just taking, like, that's not a healthy relationship. And by finding ways to bring balance back into that relationship, then we start to open up the doors to create that financial relief, to create that financial breathing space that so many women don't even realize they're craving, needing, wanting, looking for, searching for, trying to, do you know what I mean? Receive. And so anyway, one of the things, like, I'm just going to do a complete hockey stick here and just go in a totally random direction, but bear with me. One of the things I'm really loving at the moment is, those water experiments that were done by, I'm going to get the name wrong. I was going to say Hashimoto. It's not his name. That's a disease. Matomo, I don't know. But anyway, you can go onto YouTube and type in like the water crystal experiments and it will come up. Anyway, it's all these experiments that have since been demonstrated by Ivy League universities around the world to be valid, right? Which blows my mind. But basically what it was, excuse me, buddy. Good boy. What it was he would take water and I don't know what's the right way to say it. He would like project good intentions into the water. So maybe it would be like an intention of love or abundance or gratitude, thankfulness, kindness, things like that. And anyway, under like really high powered microscopes, he could see that all the crystals were changing shape. And there was one shape for thank you, one shape for love, one shape for kindness, one shape. Do you see what I'm saying? And he did the same like with negative words as well, right? Words you probably don't want to say, like the self-talk, the this, the that, you're not clever, you're not good enough, you're not enough, you're not qualified enough, like all the things, right? And then all those crystals had their own shapes, and they were like really, I'm going to say ugly shapes. Like they weren't great looking shapes compared to all these other beautiful ones over here. And anyway, of course, later on, some people were like, oh, that's all baloney, that doesn't work. But of course, at any university, there's students who want to test stuff. And yeah, so people did start testing it. And guess what? It worked. Proven to work. Now, what does it mean for you and I as women in the context of us running our businesses? Well, I'm going to tell you what it means. Think about it like this. If your words can change the molecular structure of water, if your intentions, right, you don't have to say it out loud. You can just be thinking it, right? You can be sending love telepathically to the water, right? You get what I'm saying? Anyway, you just send the intention to the water. You see what it does at that cellular level or molecular level, sorry. Imagine what that's doing like inside your body. Your body is what, I don't know what the actual number is, isn't it 70 or 75% water? So if your body is the cup and it's got all the water in it, and you're giving it the thought or the intention all the time, I can't do this. This isn't going to work for me. I can't charge that fee. I better discount that. What do you think is happening to the water in your body? And what do you think that is doing? And here's the other thing. The other thing is that the studies also showed that water has consciousness. And that is what's causing the change in the formation of the crystals. It's fascinating. Like, it's a whole thing. You can absolutely go down that rabbit hole. It is fascinating. It is fascinating and mind-blowing at the same time. I mean, of course, I say to you all the time, like, I'm a scientist in my heart, and I always want to like check both sides of things, even if I'm having a conflict in my family, right? Somebody will say, oh, you're never on my side and stuff like that to me. But the reality is, like, I've just always had this ability to see both sides of things, right? And I do agree that the truth is somewhere in the middle. We've all got our own perception of reality. I understand that. But coming back to the water having its own consciousness, you'd probably know that as well if you've watched the research about the double slit experiment in quantum physics. So if you haven't seen that research yet, basically what they did was they shot, here we go, I'm going to get this wrong now. It was either a particle or an atom or something like that. They shot it through a slit, they're watching it, it formed waves, right? Like, imagine, how you see the picture of sound waves or something like that. That's what it looked like in the test. And then when they put somebody in the room to observe what happens, well, guess what? The atoms all started misbehaving and going and making like other patterns. And this demonstrated that the atoms and the particles and, all of that have consciousness. I know, it's so fascinating. I told you, it's a whole rabbit hole. But the point that I wanted to make, coming back to, I told you it was a tangent, I've been starting to, I know this is going to sound nuts. But I think I'm going to credit it, right? I've been starting to bless the water. And when I say that, what I mean is, like, I'm not actually blessing it, but I'm just saying positive intentions into the water. So I've got a copper water bottle, and I really love it so much. And I'll just put my hands around it before I drink the water, and I just put a good intention into it. And I just say, thank you so much for all the abundance that flows my way today. Thank you so much for all the abundance and, whatever it is that flows my way today. And I just think it as I'm holding onto the water, and I just let myself feel the feeling of gratefulness, of gratitude, of thankfulness, right? I really just allow myself to physically feel that feeling of, for me, gratitude, it's like a great big hug, right? I just feel like I'm getting this great big hug. I love it. So I think about that, and then I will drink my water for the rest of the day and never think about it again. So I started doing this as a little practice, and I don't know, but part of me's got to wonder if that little practice has something to do with what happened today. So anyway, last night, go to bed, all good, blah, 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 wake up, and I just feel aligned, right? So last night, went to bed doing my manifesting meditation, put it out that, I wanted to wake up knowing exactly what to do. So that's one of my other little mantras or little prayers or little requests to the universe that I say before I start working the day. I say, please let me say and share what they need to hear. That's it. Please let me say and share what my people need to hear. Anyway, so that all happened, and then I just started doing a little bit of admin. It was all going really well. My admin this morning was I sent out an email this morning, I put it in Flowdesk and said to Flowdesk, send it at the optimal time in the morning tomorrow, right? And it happened to be 5:31 a.m., which is very specific of Flowdesk. And then anyway, when I got up this morning and I went and checked my email, I had a bunch of messages already, and it was only 8:30. I couldn't believe it. And it was messages from people saying thank you, and it was messages from people saying that they appreciated it and that they needed to hear it. And a couple of people said, can you share it in our group? So anyway, I ended up screenshotting the whole email and turning it into a carousel post for Instagram. And then I shared it to my stories. And then I also did something else for Instagram this morning. I forget what, shared that to stories. So that was kind of the admin. And then I went into the 90-day session, which was fire. It was so good. Isn't it so good? Do you know what I mean? When you get to work with clients who are just on your wavelength, and you just both understand each other, and you can just be yourselves, and nobody's masking, nobody's trying to be something that they're not. It's just both of you there, and it is just heaven, right? You just get so much more done, and it feels so much more real. And anyway, so that was happening, and because of that space she and I had created, it allowed us to be able to cover a lot of ground. What we covered today would probably take 2 90-day planning sessions. But we just moved through it. You hear the saying ease, grace, and flow, but that's actually what it was. And then I didn't even want to finish. I could have stayed talking and unpacking and helping and all of that. Honestly, I could have. Anyway, we get off the call, and now I'm okay, I need to eat something. But I was still kind of buzzing from the call. You know what it's like when you get that really good client and you're just kind of buzzing. And anyway, so what did I do? I ate a piece of cheese in front of the fridge, and then I came in here and I had a little punnet of raspberries that I've been, just picking away at for the last 4 days or something. They're on their last legs, these raspberries. But I had a few of those, and then I wasn't even thinking about it. I was making a document. So somebody else in Practice Momentum had been saying, she really wants to work on a business plan. I was like, yeah, let's do it. I don't want to overload people with stuff. It's very easy to get excited in Momentum about stuff, but I'm always trying to stay focused, because we don't want, I don't want them not getting results, right? Not getting outcomes. So I'm like, yeah. We'll absolutely work on that. So that was in my mind. And then because I'm getting to know her more, I was thinking about something that I could give her just as a surprise that might be really, really helpful. So I had my, it's just like a tool that I had, and I was just working through it and I was updating it to give it to her because I think that she's the kind of person that would absolutely, just devour this, and it would absolutely, I think, create great big shifts for her in terms of how she sees the business and how she plans for the business. And I think will really make her feel more like, hey, I am a business owner. And I want that for her because I wanted to continue her work on embodying the identity of a business owner because she's got momentum behind her. So I want to really keep that going, right? So it was while I was updating my tool for her, this resource that I've got, and I'm like, is it too complicated? Will it be okay? I'm like, nope, she can handle it. So yeah, I'm there. I haven't given it to her yet, but she'll probably listen to this podcast before I give it to her. But anyway, it was while I was updating that I realized, OMG, I've got this other idea, right? This other thing that I can do around sustainability. And it was just like so easy for me to put it together. I cannot even explain how easy this was for me to put together. I finished working on the resource and I opened up a Google Doc and I just started putting it all there. And it felt like it was just flowing. You know how you get, I don't know, maybe I was like, it was my ADD and I was just like in hyperfocus or something, but I like to think maybe it was source or the universe or energy or something like that. Like I love a good fantasy and I do believe in energy and everything, but I don't know, like this just all felt so easy and natural. And I knew that this was the last piece of the sustainability puzzle. And straight after I had put it together, I made a super basic diagram for it. And I looked at it and I was like, holy smokes, like this is it. This is it. Have you ever had that moment? Like, have you ever had that moment in your business or maybe when you were studying or something like that where you just had your, oh my gosh, I've cracked the code. Like, have you ever had that moment? Because that's what it really felt like. I was like, oh my gosh, we've done it. And I just, I was thinking, how am I going to get this out to them? Because I'm just so mindful of bombarding them with resources because I get very excited about stuff. So I just want to share it all the time. So I'm always like, hold back, Brooklyn. Like, just let them do their thing, right? Don't overwhelm anybody with all your stuff. So, I was like, I can't sit on this. I need to share it. This isn't something that I can just pop a pin in for now and then come back to it when they're doing their subsequent 90 days plans. No, this is something I really feel I need to share. So anyway, put it all together and, put a video together explaining the idea. And still haven't named it yet. But let's just say that it's like a model of sustainability that you can use with your private practice, irrespective of the model of business that you're adopting at the time, right? And that's why I love it so much. It is going to ensure that when these women have put it in place and it's starting to tick over, which will take a couple of months, but once it starts to tick over, it's going to just let them exhale. They're going to be able to exhale. And that's what I really, 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 really want. I don't want them, wondering about how much money is going to come in next week. I don't want them feeling like trapped by the business and like they've got to be in the chair, otherwise the money isn't coming. No. So I just know that this model here is the key to sustainability. It is so simple. It is so clear. It is something that they can create and get set up and running in an afternoon. In fact, I don't even think, if you were focused and you said, okay, look, for the next hour, I'm just going to knock this out, you could absolutely knock it out. And once it's there in place, it's just a matter of time then until they start to see results from it. And those results are just going to give them peace of mind, breathing space, as I said, financially, but also allow them to, I guess maybe if they wanted to, they could work less and have more time to do the things that they really want to do, if that's on their heart. Or they might be able to, I don't know, like they all want such different things. Some of them want more time with their families. Some of them want more time to do more courses and more study and, further refine and develop their skills. Some of them want to travel. Like they all want something different from the business. And this can set the business up to help them get it. And I am so, so, so excited for them. And then, so I shared it, right? So this is the story. So, I I couldn't contain myself. I just went all in and I was like, hey, I made you something. Hope you like it. And I shared the link. And it was really, really lovely because, it's a Saturday, right? So technically we're not working in momentum, but hey, some of us are. So anyway, I know that lots of people are on the weekend, but the people that saw it were really positive and like, this is amazing and I really love it. And some people private message me and like, oh my gosh, this is a total game changer. And I just felt so like happy for them. Like if they were here in person, even though I'm not a hugger, I know we would have been hugging and jumping up and down, right? Because I don't know, I'm just so pleased. I'm so, so pleased. And I can't wait for them to do it. And to see, what it looks like for each of them. So I've given them the model now and they will go away and create what they want it to look like. Yeah. So think about like if I gave you a template in Canva, right? And I gave it to 10 different people to polish and redesign and stuff like that. You'd have like 10 different things, 10 different products at the end. That's what this is going to be like. So I'm excited to see like what they end up doing. It's so much fun. And then the other thing that I remembered too before I popped on here was I told you that I was creating a roadmap to the 100K in 90 days. And I know it's crazy, but let me bring it up for you so I can tell you a little bit about what's going on. Where is it? Here we go. Okay. So again, this is something I'll share with Momentum, but you know what? When you look over all of the things that you've done for the working on the business part, sometimes, again, it just blows my mind. But looking at it, I can see how I can already make improvements to my roadmap for the people who are inspired and who do want to use it. So I can see like on day one, I've got things like how I did my social media, how I, set up another funnel, how I drove traffic to the funnel. Do you know what I mean? Like it's all stuff like that. And some days were really, really big days. Like another offer was created, optimizations happened around the sales pages, all of this kind of stuff. VSLs were made. What else have I got down here? And then all the regular stuff as well, like sending my emails, doing socials, showing up in my communities and groups, all of that, because that all counts towards the 100K, right? Revisions that I've been making to things that I deleted and let go of. What else? Oh, cleaned my email list. That's always a fun one. But I don't mind that now. Back in the beginning, like, oh my gosh, I think I was close to tears the first time I did that. So clean your email list. If you're doing email marketing for your practice, you know what I'm talking about. It is like, it breaks your heart to delete people from your list because you're like, oh, my numbers. But you got to remember, like, the numbers are just vanity, okay? If the list isn't working for you, it's time to get a new list or clean up the list that you've got. And actually, you should be cleaning your list on a regular basis. I would say at a minimum every 6 months, right? At a really big stretch, if you wanted to do it once a year, do it. But you know what I'm talking about. It needs to be done. Get rid of all the people who aren't opening your emails, right? They're fake numbers. If you've got, what's the point of having people sitting on your email list if they're never reading your emails? Like, it doesn't make sense. Get rid of those people. You will have lower numbers on your email list, but the email list will be full of people who like to receive your emails, like to read them, all that kind of stuff. Like what I was just telling you about this morning about people sending me replies to that email that went out, right? So all of that. Yeah, that happened. And then, that's right, 2 or 3 days ago. So I use ThriveCart. Now, ThriveCart is software or a platform, I don't know what you want to call it, but it started off just being a piece of software that you could use to create checkouts, to create sales pages and things like that, to sell stuff, right? So to sell maybe your course, maybe even your membership, things like that. I've been with ThriveCart for about 5 years now, maybe even longer. And the reason that I went with them was because I had been with MemberVault and they were just moving in a direction that didn't align with my business. Like, they were doing things I wasn't going to need or use. And then I was with Teachable. And yeah, I wasn't a great fan of Teachable. And then there was something else, I forget what. And then I found ThriveCart. And the reason that I joined ThriveCart at the time was because they had I think they've still got it. It was like you could pay once, whereas everybody else was like you had to pay $200 or $300 a month. And anyway, so I liked the idea of the paying once, and you could pay once and get all the sales carts and checkout pages and stuff like that, sales pages. And then they brought out, you could get Pro or Learn Plus or something, which meant that then you could have courses. So I upgraded, and I think the total amount I spent on ThriveCart was 1,100 Australian dollars. And it was a one-time payment. And ever since then, they've just, because it was a lifetime deal, they've just kept upgrading me. So I just keep getting all these upgrades. And it's very exciting. But they just had a mega upgrade, totally out of the blue, big surprise, 2 or 3 days ago. And all these new features have been brought into the platform. I mean, things that will really, really help you in your business. So I had to then, it's like whack-a-mole in business, isn't it? Sometimes like you come along on the day and you think, oh, today I'm going to be working on my roadmap. And so you're going to do something, and then boom, you're down a rabbit hole because your software's been upgraded. And you got to learn all the new things with your software. But the good things about it are, better integrations, more integrations with things like email, stuff like that, but also features. So some of the features, for example, are, well, you would if you've been in my world. I always put, not always, probably 90% of the time, I have an order bump on my sales pages. So it's like, do you want to buy the website wellness check? And then people read that and they'll go, yeah, I'm going to get it. And then they scroll down, and before they get to the bit where they've got to type in their payment information, they've got a tiny little box. You would know it. You know the tiny little box that pops up, and it's got something that's pretty low ticket. I think my most expensive one's $37 or something. But yeah, so then I'm like, would you like this other thing to complement your purchase? Well, anyway, there's really expensive software. ClickFunnels, that was the one. Yeah, I was also with ClickFunnels, which cost a small fortune and I had no end of trouble with. But one of the things about ClickFunnels was you could do like a roundabout backdoor, skip around the flagpole kind of integration that would allow you, using complementary software, to put 2 order bumps on the one sales page. Anywho, they were the only ones that were doing it. And anyway, now Thrivecart, just boom, you can have as many order bumps on that page as you want. So I'm like, hello, this is really good for business, because if you're selling something in your private practice, let's say you want to sell a therapy journal, and you go and you make this really awesome therapy journal. You go into Thrivecart and you put your little page together for the therapy journal, and then you can put like multiple order bumps. It's great. So you might sell your therapy journal for, I don't know, $27. And then you're going to think, what have I got that could complement the therapy journal? So maybe you're going to give them, I don't know, a PDF of journal prompts, or maybe you're going to give them a visualization, or maybe you're going to give them affirmation cards, right? Something like that. So then you could put like 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or unlimited, right? Obviously you're not going to like just fill up the whole page with order bumps, but I would say experiment and just see what works best for your audience. People buy some things, but not others. And if people don't know that they're there, they can't buy them. If people see them and they don't buy them, that's okay. They've had the option, and you can use that information later on to say, okay, these ones aren't working. What about I swap them out and try a different combination of order bumps or something? But anyway, you can increase the value of an order by sometimes as much as 50% with your order bumps. So why wouldn't you want to have order bumps? But anyway, the whole thing is like, then I was off down the Thrivecart rabbit hole of, getting super excited about everything that's happening there. So that was a lot of fun. And then the other thing that I did was I've got a community called the Ultimate Private Practice Community on Facebook, and it's for people who are starting or growing or scaling, or, maybe even getting ready to wrap up their private practice. So it's for all therapists, right? Psychologists, counselors, social workers, the play therapists, the music and art therapists, like everybody's welcome there. The thing that brings us all together is the business of private practice. And I was like, I really want to serve my community better. Like, I haven't really been showing up in this community the way that I could, or the way that I would really like to. And so, yeah, I, blessed my water. I was like, thank you for giving me the insights and the inspiration and the downloads that I need to help serve my, complimentary, my free community even better. And yes, I had this idea to go through and just check the dashboard, check the onboarding, check the welcome email workflow, all that kind of stuff. And so that probably took me, I want to say, a full day, but it was probably more like a day and a bit, because my dashboard, which I loved at the time, was fully outdated. So I had to redo my whole entire dashboard. I had to go in and make new modules, new lessons, add new resources, everything that's relevant to the community at this point in time. And that's going to change again as, with time. But, and I had to record a new video for it and all that kind of stuff. And then I had to go through and make sure that I had the emails working. So yeah, do you see what I mean? Like, it sounds like a lot of work. And at one point, I've just been working so solidly. I'm up to, today was day 10, but it really feels like it's probably been a year of work. And there was a time like recently where I was like, oh my gosh, I just feel like I'm doing so much and I'm not seeing results yet. And in my head, like, I got the idea, the voice, the message, the download, whatever, that said, but no, you won't get conversions right now from what you're doing, because what you're doing is you are updating, upgrading everything here to create the next wave of clients, of income, of, do you know what I mean? All of opportunities, all of that kind of stuff. You're laying the groundwork, you're doing the foundations. It's just like I have taken a great big mansion and I have leveled it to the ground and I'm rebuilding it, right? And so, yeah, it has been a heck of a lot of work. I wouldn't want anybody else to go through this amount of work. But looking at because I'm keeping a tally, not a tally, like a list. I'm keeping, I've just made an Excel spreadsheet basically, and I'm making notes of what I'm doing every single day behind the scenes. But I can already see, looking at it, even though today was only day 10, I can already see there was probably stuff on there I didn't need to do. Like just now, before I recorded this podcast, for example, I was in Zapier fixing zaps that I made the wrong way on an earlier day, right? And I made them the wrong way just because I had been using instructions that were outdated. So, what ended up happening was people were signing up for stuff, free stuff. People were signing up for stuff, but my name was showing up as the person who'd been buying everything. So I missed out on capturing a bunch of people's names and emails and stuff like that because I messed up my Zap using outdated instructions. So today I had to spend maybe nearly an hour going through and updating all my Zaps. Okay. So little things like that. I know when I go and make the roadmap for the 100K, I know straight away that this list can absolutely be edited. I mean, I will share the original so people can see, but I'll also give them the short version so they don't have to go through all of this, because it's been quite a task, and I can't believe I'm only up to day 10. There's still 80 days to go. Now, this was meant to be ideally from the 1st of April, but honestly I've only been doing it for 10 days, so I'm gonna change the 90 days. And so if I say that the 90 days started 10 days ago, then I've got 80 left to make this happen. So this is going to be quite a spreadsheet, but I'm also like really, really, really excited to see if it works. I'm really excited to see the results. And I have to say, I'm kind of anticipating that maybe no, that's not going to work. I was going to say maybe in a few days. I think the majority of the heavy lifting will have been done behind the scenes. And then it will just be a matter of me having my own momentum in my business, the way that I want and need that to look now, right? Which is different to like 3 months ago or 6 months ago. Anyway, what else was I going to say? It's actually going to not settle down in a few days, because I just remembered I'm opening up the doors to 2 of my programs in May. So there's 2 launches in May, and launches can be like big in terms of effort and stuff like that. So I guess I'm going to be preparing for that. Though with the ADD that I have, I tend to work real well under pressure. So who knows, I might just leave it till, a couple of days before the deadline and, smash it out then. We'll see. So what am I launching in? So this was one of the things that came up when I was doing my 100K roadmap. I was thinking, okay, I'm not launching momentum, that's been done. What do I really want to focus on launching? And I went back and had a look at all my products, made a whole lot unavailable anymore in ThriveCut. I mean, it's just, you just got to toggle the switch basically. So I toggled a whole lot of things to off, and just have a handful of things left in there now. And I was like, okay, what do I really want to be helping people with? And there were 2 things that came to mind. 2 of my products sort of jumped out at me. And one was the Diploma Counsellor Society, which I really, 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 really love. Now, the Diploma Counsellor Society started off as me being very protective over people who had a diploma because I saw what was happening. Like, some people really were treated so cruelly. It even happened in my community, and I had to remove a bunch of people for being so cruel and nasty. I couldn't believe the things that they were saying. Like, I don't know, a diploma qualified counsellor was just saying something along the lines of how she recently graduated with her diploma. She was so excited, and did anyone have any advice for starting a private practice? And she was set upon by a group of people. So anyway, I removed them all from the group. Yep. I'm not allowed in their groups now, apparently, so I don't really care. I don't want to be associated with people who are like that, which is why I got rid of them. But I also recognised that, there actually wasn't a space back then for people with diplomas to get help without feeling like they were going to be judged or attacked or anything like that. So I just took it upon myself. I was like, I'm going to sort this out. And I went and made the Diploma Counsellor Society. And the thing is, like, when I was making it, I really was mindful about what do I want to give them that could help them. And so I was like, I want to make sure they've got all the right stuff. Like, it was content. It was making sure that they had monthly trainings. It was making sure they had resources. It was making sure there was the supervision involved, all that kind of stuff. But I think it's this is going into year 3 now. And I think because it's so new, right? I open the doors once a year. So I've only had doors open twice. The first time I did it, this was a lesson, right? Listen to the lesson. The first time I did it as subscription, like just pay by the month, cancel anytime. Big mistake. Don't recommend it. Not for something like this. No way. So the next time I opened it, which was last year, I was like, no, now it's 12 months. You come in for 12 months. And I'll tell you why. It was because what was happening when we had the subscription model was people were loving the flexibility, right? They could come, they could go, they could stop their membership, they could restart it again a few months later, get the latest stuff, leave, So there was this constant flux, right? They were in, they were out, they were in, they were out. And that's totally fine because that's what the model is there for. However, I wanted a space where, my vision really was a space where they could come together and they could develop genuine connections with each other that they could then take out into the real world beyond the DCS, where they could support each other, have each other's backs. Do you know what I mean? All of that kind of stuff. So it changed to one-time fee, couple $100, and but you're in it for 12 months, all right? If you want to leave, but you can't come back in that 12-month period, right? You have to wait until the doors open again and you can rejoin. So that's how it's been set up over the last 12 months. And guess what? Everything changed and the dream became a reality. And people that come along to the calls that we have, the peer supervision calls, affectionately refer to the calls as more like being a circle. And do you know what? Some of them have even said to me, like I was saying to them recently, I'm going to be working behind the scenes for you soon, putting some things together. And, pretty much straight away, a bunch of them sent me private messages to say, we're not here for the stuff, Brooklyn. I know some people are, so I will do it. But I'm just saying, the feedback from them was that's not why we're here. We're here because of those monthly meetings. We're here for those connections with each other. And so now people in the DCS do connect with each other outside of the DCS for support, for encouragement, for lifting each other up, all those kinds of things, which is exactly what I always wanted to happen. But anyway, as I said, it's a couple of $100. I think it's like, I don't know. Oh, if they go on so this is how it's going to be launched, right? The launch is if they go on the waiting list for when the doors open in May. So don't quote me because I'm going to get the day wrong because I've got 2 launches happening, but I think one is the 9th and one is the 15th. I know, only a week apart, crazy, right? Oh no, one is the 9th and the other one is when I get back from leave. Yeah, I'm going away again. I need another break already. I'm going away again. Yep, back to the country. But so the second launch is after I'm back. So I think that's sort of toward the end. It's 26th, 27th of May. Anyway, so with this one here, with the DCS, if people join the wait list, then everyone who's on that wait list will get to join for $297, I think it is. But people who aren't on the wait list, who join when the doors open, then I start doing all the marketing for it, like bigger marketing, obviously, they will join at $397. So yeah, I always like to look after the wait list people. So anyway, I've got to set everything up for that. And I also want to go and put more fresh content, even though I know most of them don't want it. There are still people who count on me putting the CPD in there, and I am advertising that it's included. So I must go and put it in. So, yep, that's going to be on my 100K roadmap. You know, I'm just showing you like it's the behind the scenes stuff that you don't normally see, but it takes time to think what content do they need that would help them where they are now, like in terms of things like national standards perhaps. What do I want the assessment to look like? What's the training going to look like? Do you know what I mean? All of that. How am I going to schedule it? When do I want the trainings to become available, like all at once? Or do I want to just drop one, make one available every month, right? So all of this goes into it. And then, of course, there's the other product, which I'm just trying to think what it is. Is it the marketing one? I can't remember if it's the marketing one that's getting launched the end of May or if it's the private practice certification program, but one of those. I think it's the certification program. So the certification program, with DCS, it only opens once a year. So it's only had the doors open once since we've started doors open, doors closed. Before that, it was subscription. So this is like the second time it's been open for enrollment. So that's that. And then the other one is the certification course. Now, I've had nearly 800 students through the certification course. And the reason that I created that was because when I was doing 15-minute calls, so many times the same themes were emerging around people just not having any background in business or running a business and stuff like that. And so that's why they were struggling. And yeah, they were always coming to me when the wheels were falling off rather than getting ahead of it, you know. And I totally get it. Like, you get your qualification, it's like, woohoo, like, and you throw your mortarboard into the air and you're like all excited, the hard work's done, off you go. And I know I say it a lot, because it happens a lot. But anyway, that's why I created the certification program. So that is there. It's got a bunch of modules in it. Every module has its own assessment. So if you don't want to do the whole certificate, you don't have to. If you just want to do the lessons and get certificates along the way, you can get like PD certificates along the way, right? But you don't get your certification unless you've done everything. The certification gives you a digital badge that you can use on your marketing, your website, all that kind of stuff. Actual printable certificate that you can print out, put on the wall at reception in your office, all those kinds of things. And I feel like it's just a great way to learn about the business and how to actually run a private practice. So that program has been in place for how long? I want to say 3 or 4 years. And like the DCS, it started off actually as a mini membership. And it was $7 a month. You could be in the membership. I think it was called PP 101 then. It's now called Private Practice Certification. But I still use PP 101 in the title because that's what it's known by. So it started off as a monthly membership, $7. And what I noticed was a lot of the time the people just, they were not really going in and doing that much of the course. And I decided, I think it was about 2 years ago, that I was going to do doors open, doors closed. And so, yeah, I did that, and I changed the price to a fixed price. So no more subscriptions. I don't any longer have subscriptions or memberships or anything like that. So I turned it into a course. It was a flat fee, and you could pay however you wanted. You could pay in full. You could do split pay. You can pay by the month, but it's just not a subscription, right? It's not a membership. It's just a payment plan where you pay the money every month for 12 months. Makes it easier for people who are just starting out in their practice and they don't have many clients yet, be able to get the help that they need within their budget, right? So there's that. Now, of those 800 or so people that are in the certification, I think there's probably about 200 in the community. And I sent out an email. This is so interesting, right? I sent out an email probably twice now to the 600 who aren't in the community to check in with them and find out, let them know, hey, got this community here. I gave them the link, blah, blah, blah. I said to them, if you don't want to join, totally fine. Just want to make sure you were aware that it's there so you can get extra support. If you have any questions about it, let me know. Could you hit reply and just say, what your plans are in terms of the community? And so many people wrote back and they're like, just not into communities. I was like, well, there you go. And actually, that community is not overly active. It's pretty quiet. It tends to be more active after the doors opened and the next intake of students has come through, because there's that initial buzz of excitement and people getting to know each other and talking and stuff like that. And then they're submitting work, then they're asking each other for help. And so it kind of goes like that. And there's coaching calls where people who are doing the work can get help from me, on that coaching call. And then once those coaching calls stop, because they go for a limited time, once those coaching calls stop, then what I notice is the engagement in the group starts to die down a little bit. So anyway, that's the certificate. And I really am so proud of the certificate, because it's not another private practice certification that you can do. So I really am so proud of it. But yeah, so that is going to have its doors open. Now, it only opens once a year. Well, it only opened once last year, as did the DCS. So weren't many launches last year. And honestly, I don't know if I will open DCS or the certification course again, maybe later in the year. I honestly don't know. At this stage, it's a no. I really just want to focus on momentum. But I don't know. And I really don't want to be creating more and more and more stuff. I would really just rather improve, fix, refine the things that I've already made, if that makes sense. So with those two launches coming up, it's going to mean updating or creating waitlists, email sequences, sales page updates, content updates, group updates, banner updates, onboarding updates, video updates, lesson updates, resources to go with the lesson updates, videos to go with the lessons with the resources updates. It's a chunk of work. So yeah, possibly, I don't know, I could try and make it easy for myself by just tweaking things I've already got. That's definitely a possibility. But at the same time, I know myself too, and I'm likely to create brand new things because I want them to be special. And I really want to honor the people who are in the programs and, give them extra things that they weren't expecting. So I really want to put 110% effort into that. So yeah, when I was thinking my days are going to slow down soon, that's a total myth. They're not going to slow down for a little while. And that's okay, right? So I feel like with this 100K roadmap, it's going to be a big push for maybe the next week or two. Then I'm off for a break, which is going to be awesome, because then I can just kind of rest and I won't have to be doing any of this behind the scenes stuff. I can step away from the computer and I can just focus on momentum. And then when I come back, it'll be another launch. So yeah, and that'll be, I guess, that should take us through the first 30 days of the 90. So yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? And like you think to yourself, oh my gosh, 90 days, like it's so much. But the reality is, like, we're all going to work for the next 3 months, right? All I'm doing is documenting what I'm doing. And you could document what you're doing too. In fact, you should, because it's very interesting. You know, some days I look at what I've done. I'm like if I look at day 8, it says that I updated my dashboard for the Ultimate Private Practice community, that I updated the modules and the lessons for it, and that I added order bumps to some of my products in ThriveCart. So that looks like 3 things, right? My ADD brain's like, man, you hardly did anything on day 8, but updating that dashboard, that really took it out of me. Like, that was a big job. So yeah, I'm really interested to be able to sit down at 90 days, look at everything and say, what did I do that wasn't necessary? What would I, cut from this roadmap if I was going to do it again? Like for my next 90 days, if I was going to take this same roadmap, tidy it up, do it again, what would I leave on it and what would I remove? And actually, I'd probably remove a bunch, not all, but probably a bunch of this stuff, because honestly, the stuff that I've done here has been the prep. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I've spent these last 10 days working my butt off, loving it, but working my butt off for not much return. But as I said, it is very early days, and this is setting my business up for the next wave of clients, experiences, opportunities, ways of helping, revenue for the business, all that kind of stuff. So it needs to be done. And once this is all done, I can then focus my energy back on being in service to people outside of momentum, because momentum gets all my attention at the moment, because it's just like, as I said, I'm totally obsessed, absolutely obsessed. It's just like the best program ever for private practice. I can't believe it. Even as I'm recording this podcast and I'm looking at my spreadsheet now, I can see the Voxer chats is up to 3. And I really want to go in there and have a look and see what everybody's doing. But okay, I'm going to let you go. I just wanted to share with you like the giddy excitement of everything that's happening behind the scenes over here. And yeah, look, if you are somebody who is in the Ultimate Private Practice community, have a look at the pinned post, because you will see I made your video showing you everything that you've got access to, and I will keep adding things to it for you. But obviously you can't access it if you don't have the login. So you need to know the login, and that's in the video. So go and watch that video. If you have trouble logging in, of course, let me know. If you're somebody who has a diploma and you would like some support around you for the next 12 months, right? You want to experience what it's like to be in that container, then I would say get on the waitlist. I will put the waitlist in the notes here for you. And what else? I think that's about it. Oh yeah, just other things too. Like, I mean, once you're in the dashboard in ThriveCart, you will see everything else. So you can go and put your name down for as many wait lists for things as you like. And it's well worth doing, because sometimes I market, big and loud, and other times it's more sort of discreet. Like, for example, with momentum, that's hardly going to have any marketing. And I'll tell you why. Because with Momentum, on the waitlist page, there's a button to take you to an application form if you want to apply. You fill out that application form, and then closer to the date, what happens is I will go through those applications and tell you, yes, you're in, no, you're not, and then connect with you and say, right, this is the next step. But there's only going to be space available for 10 women. So those places are going to go to the first 10 women that apply and get approved, right? If you don't go on the wait list and those 10 places are taken up by waitlist people, then I don't need to advertise it and you'll miss out. So it's worth your while putting through an application. You can always withdraw it. You can always say, I've changed my mind, not going to do it, blah, blah, blah. That's totally fine. But if Momentum's something that you're feeling interested in, I would say get on the wait list so you don't miss out, okay? So anyway, that's happening there. And then the other thing too was somebody was asking me about payments and everything, and mentioned that I had never mentioned it on the podcast. So I thought this might be something that you're interested in too. When you work with me, you can either pay with your PayPal or your Stripe or whatever it is, but you can also do Afterpay, Zip Pay, Klarna. Someone bought private practice forms yesterday. That is just one of the world's best products. Those private practice forms are so good. I love them so much. They are so popular. I've sold nearly 1,000 bundles of those forms. It's really, really good. But anyway, so yeah, they use Klarna. So they're doing pay in 4 or something. So those options are available to you as well, right? Buy now, pay later, etc., and even more. So yeah, never feel like something's out of reach is what I'm trying to say. There are ways that we can get you the help that you need within the current budget, okay? So the reason that I've gone to all that trouble to set those things up for you is because of my own experience. I'm just looping back to the start of the podcast, really. Remember, I was sharing with you about my horrible money mindset and, how it did not help me in business. And I missed out on getting help because I was always like, I can't afford it. I can't do this. I can't do that. I can't was my inner dialogue. It was my inner mantra. I can't. I don't deserve it. It's not fair if I go and take this money here because then I'm stealing from my family. I had all these ideas. So I missed out, and it took me that much longer to figure out the business side of private practice. And that is why these options are available to you. And there's more. All you've got to do is ask me, and I can absolutely walk you through different payment options for things, right? Never, ever, ever think that if you want to do something with me, the money's going to get in the way, because it will not. One of my values is about being accessible. And I always believe that there's always a way if you really want something. I really do believe that, as somebody who's herself found ways to make things happen. So yeah, never, ever, ever, ever think, oh my gosh, that's the price, I can't do it. You can do it. I have ways that you can do it in your existing budget, all right? Never, ever, ever worry about the money with me. It's more important that you get the support and the help that you need, whatever that might be, from, something like the forms to something like, I don't know, DCS, to something like Momentum. It's totally up to you what help you need, but it's always doable for you as well, because that is one of my big, 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 big values. Like it is for many of you. I know how important it is for you to be accessible to your clients too. Okay. You know what it's like when you have a call with them and then they hear the price or something like that and they just like shut themselves down. Like you just want to reach through the phone and give them a great big hug and hold them tight and tell them it's okay. It's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. Right? It's the same for you, right? Don't be your own worst enemy and cut your nose off to spite your face when it comes to getting the support and the help and the tools that you need to create, well, what we're talking about today, sustainability in your private practice, among other things, right? Oh, I love this sustainability model so much. I can't wait for them to use it. Anyway, I'm going to let you go. I hope that you have a really, really beautiful evening. Thank you so much for your time. And yeah, I'll see you in the Wednesday edition. Bye. And that's a wrap for this episode of the Private Practice Podcast. So as you reflect on today's insights, imagine creating real success in your private practice without going down rabbit holes or exhausting yourself with business activities that don't move the needle. With Practice Momentum, you have push of a button help available on demand. It's like having an expert in your pocket ready to guide you whenever you need it. Visit brooklynstorme.com to discover how Practice Momentum can transform your approach to building a thriving practice. I'm Dr. Brooklyn Storme, and I'll see you next time as we continue exploring the mind, business, and spirit of private practice success.